What's going on, YouTube? Another episode of GotShoesTV. And today we got an interesting topic for our discussion. I know you're probably looking at all these shoes right now with this wide variety and wondering what the hell are these kids going to talk about today. Well, I've been hearing a lot of discussions on basically are the high-priced designer shoes worth it as opposed to the Nike resale value and things of that nature. So I felt like this was a good topic to talk on because not to take anything away from a lot of these YouTubers doing this particular topic, but
you ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't got.
Come on, chill out.
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers.
I'm asking you.
You ain't been doing the education.
Bro,
you ain't been doing the education.
Calm down.
You don't have the answers though.
I feel like you can't even really speak on designer shoes like that if you don't have at least 10 or 15 different pairs from different brands. And if you just own one or two, it's hard to really gauge, you know, the quality and things of that nature. So I want to start off by just stating my opinion. And honestly, I do feel like the designer shoes are well worth the high price, and for a couple reasons. The first reason being the materials used. I absolutely feel like the quality of these shoes compared to your average athletic sneaker is night and day, man. I mean, I'm just gonna take this Louboutin shoe right now, man. It's the Christian Louboutin, and this was called, I believe, the Paris Trash, or just the Trash. And basically the concept of this shoe, man, was to take all the different trash that was outside the factory and put it in the shoe. And every shoe is different. Both the left foot and the right foot that I own are different. Every pair is not exactly the same. All different types of crazy details like pencil sharpenings and tickets and tags and materials. I mean, real crazy, man. And things like that to me add to the creativity as well as, you know, the quality and the time used. I mean, 90% of them are made by hand. They're made in phenomenal factories. Not to take nothing away from the Chinese factories, but I know that the quality control in these places is a lot better than per se in the massive, you know, factories that are making thousands and thousands of shoes. Which also brings me to my second reason I like designer shoes more, and I feel like they're worth the high price, is because the actual amounts produced. There's not, you know, someone says, oh man, this Nike only had 3,000 pairs, and I'm like, 3,000 pairs only, right? Yeah. Well, you know, shoes like this only have a couple hundred pairs, man, and if that. I know a lot of the filling pieces my man Ice rocks with, some of them only have 50 to 60 pairs that they made of them, which is, you know, pretty impressive in the scheme of you won't run into two pairs if you go to a sneaker expo, if you go out and about and things of that nature. So that's another reason I also like them and don't mind the price being high. And I think the main reason for me is also the longevity of the shoe. And this kind of goes along with the first aspect of the quality of the products, you know, of the materials used, because you get a shoe like the Balenciaga, for instance, man, and you know, with Jordan brand and stuff like that, and probably even these Yeezys or these Adidas, over time, the longevity of the shoe, you run into a lot of issues. And I'm sure a lot of people will tell you, if you watch the sneaker videos on YouTube with dudes with the classic J's, Nike Air on the back, or some of the first generation stuff that's over 10, 15 years old at this point. There's a lot of different things that go into preserving these pairs. I'm talking about climate control. I'm talking about you have, you know, your stuff in plastic bags. Are you keeping the tissue paper outside the bags? Are you taking them out to breathe, putting them on, walking around your room to make sure the soles stay intact? Things of that nature, man. And a lot goes into that to keep your shoes from falling apart. And even so, you're probably going to deal with a shoe that's going to fall apart regardless down the line. The soles crumble, the leather tears, yellowing of the ice soles, things of that nature, man. And like you talk about this Balenciaga, for instance, the more you wear it, sometimes the better it gets, man. I mean, the cracks in the leather and the creasing, I mean, it just kind of adds to that flavor of these phenomenal lambskin leather and stuff like that, man. It's not made with stuff that's meant to fall apart. It's made with top quality stuff that's gonna last forever, as opposed to you paying a high price like $1,000 for a Frag 1 that is not made with $1,000 materials. That Frag 1 is made with materials that are, you know, meant to be sold for 150 bucks. Yeah. You know, shoe probably costs what, bro? What do you think a Frag 1 costs to make, man?
Probably like 30 bucks.
Thank you, Ron.
No more than, yeah. I mean, and that's another thing, because you consider what it takes to make, ship,
and then retail, and it's still amounting to like 30 bucks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's made with you know, at a factory that is you know, mass producing these shoes. So the quality control is not going to be up to par. What's up, baby? It's raining outside, so my son is very amused by it. Sit down and play your tablet. So with that being said, you know, I definitely feel like the quality control on these items is top notch, which adds to that flavor as well, man. And you know, I don't want to pay personally, and stop me if I'm wrong, Berg. If someone were to tell you that this Yeezy you could get right now in your size DS for 1,200 bucks, you would jump and think that's a steal, no? I mean, that's considered a steal. What did these go for? 2,500 DS, maybe more, maybe a little less, depending on who you know and what you know. So you're talking about a $1,500 shoe would be a steal to you if I could give this to you. And you'd probably take as many as you want, as many as you could get. If I told you I had 10 of these at $1,500, you'd be like, sign me up right now. And in reality, you're paying $1,400, $1,450 more than it's made, more than it costs to make this shoe. And on top of that, it only retailed for $225, and that's considered a steal to you, as opposed to taking a shoe like this that is probably $1,200 plus retail. You know what I mean? That's what retail is going for. There's something more than $1,200. So you're talking about a $1,200 shoe made of $1,200 materials, $1,200 leather. You know, look at these St. Laurents, for instance, man. This leather is butter soft. It's not made with the same type of leather that's on a Jordan 1 or something like that. So, you know, waxed laces, things of that nature. So with that being said, these things are made from quality materials that are worth those prices, that justify that high price tag, as opposed to you thinking $1,500 is a steal on a Yeezy, man. And it's just, it dumbfounds me. I didn't pay retail for these. Listen, I'm not accusing all of you of just being, you know, drones and doing what Nike tells you, but I did the same thing. I probably paid, you know, $1,500 plus for that shoe. Silly me. I shouldn't have done it. I regret doing it. And at this point, you know, I probably would never have done that again, man. So, you know, I personally feel like the value of these shoes are better. And also, my man Ice was telling me a little earlier, sit down. My man Ice was telling me a little earlier how you said, you know, these shoes don't really have much of a resale value, and they don't sell out, so they're easier to get. I mean, you know.
I mean, what's dope to me about a lot of designer joints is that sometimes you can wait. Like, you see some joints drop, and you know, it's not everyone is willing to pay those prices sometimes. So a lot of times you see a joint that, like for example, a lot of Rick Owens or what have you. You know, they might retail for, you know, 1,000 plus, but then you can catch them on a good sale for like 70% off. Absolutely. If you're lucky. And you know, that's very dope. And then what's even more dope with that is, you know, when you're going through connections and plugs for designer shoes, man, it's a whole different process, man. Even walking into a store, you could be dressed as hood as however you want to be, but in like a Prada store, you got to do it in a 3-piece suit, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bring these off for you. The service is just always impeccable. You know, you might get a call out the blue, and you know, if you've dealt with a person, you know, a personal shopper, what have you, and you spent hundreds, maybe thousands with them, you know, they'll hit you up like, look man, I got these in your size, I'm gonna send it to you. You know, I know you're good for it, so just give it to me when you're ready.
You're dealing with a different caliber person.
Yeah, it's dope, man, when someone is willing to send you like a $600-700 shoe, and it's just like, nah, don't trip, I know you're good for it.
As opposed to going for a meetup for a pair of shoes like these Adidas, and they tell you $300 for it, and you get there and the homie's like, oh man, well, you know what, brother, I just got an offer for $375 on these now, man. Like, unless you can give me 4, I might have to run with the prior price. I mean,
right.
It's silly to me, man, and it's dope that these don't have such a high resale value, so that, you know, things of that nature don't affect you getting your hands on a shoe. It feels good to be able to actually get yourself a shoe for retail, even though it's a high retail, and not have to worry about camping out online or camping out at the store. Absolutely. Or playing that whole game that kind of takes the fun out of collecting sneakers, no man? So, you know, so I personally do feel like, you know, it's justified to pay these high prices, because these are not cheap materials. You're not paying. You got a shoe that's gonna last forever. You got a shoe that is not a $50 shoe that they're just charging a lot of money for. I mean, it cost them a lot of money to make these. They were handmade and stuff like that. So, and not to mention packaging, customer service, all these little nicks and
all
knacks
that stuff makes a difference.
Absolutely.
Actually, and if you notice too, a lot more of these athletic sneakers are now coming with dust bags.
Crazy, right?
They're coming with the special packaging. I don't know if you guys noticed about the Adidas Yeezy 750 Boost, but you know, for those of you who don't know, that's really like a Rick Owens Adidas box with the Yeezy branding on it. It's really not a Yeezy.
No, you're right, and they're definitely stepping their price tags up a little bit more. So the least they could do is give you these dust bags and stuff. But he brings up a good point, man. They're more and more trying to raise the price on these and just give you these little different bells and whistles with your shoe to make you feel like, oh, it's all right to pay, you know, $400 for a fucking LeBron or something like that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, you could pay an extra $200, man, and get shit with, you know, lambskin leather on the inside, mesh, top quality suede, you know what I mean? It's just, to me personally, I would rather spend that money on this than spend the money that it would take to get one of these two shoes after release date. I mean, if you get them release date for retail, cool. It was worth that amount of money. Nike's not ripping you off. This for $225 is cool. This for, you know, $200 is cool. True. But this for $1,500, $2,500, and you walking away telling me that I'm happy with the quality, man. Yeah, the snakeskin scales were real good. Like,
yeah, cats really hit you with that too. Cats really get the Yeezys in hand, and they're like, oh man, impeccable quality, and it's
like,
really
come on, man, it's silly, bro. You can get a $1,200 shoe from JBF Customs or someone else. Shout out to JBF Custom, man. The dude does incredible quality work, and you can get a custom like that for $1,000 and have real Python. Shit, you can get a $700 Balenciaga with real Python. You could get a, you know, $1,300 Louboutin with fucking real Python. I mean, it's just, it's silly to me to pay for this Fox Python and pay $2,500 for these cheap ass materials made in China, mass made, glue stains, glow spots on the bottom after, you know, 3 wears. I mean, how many of you lost your lace tips for these Yeezys? I know, I'm sure someone out there watching this has lost their lace tip. Come on, man. Silly shit that comes along with buying these things for these high prices, and I personally, I'll never do it again. I've done it many a times, and I won't again, man. So let us know what you think. You know, tell us about your experiences with you buying, you know, a high price, a Nike shoe for a high price resale. Do you think Nikes are worth the resale? Would you rather buy a Nike shoe like this for $1,500 instead of buying a shoe like this that really costs $1,500 because it's made with $1,500 shit?